Now, Melanie, what do you think about that? One of the great equalizers is an American's ability to defend themselves with whatever the modern tools are of the day. And, I always think of women because yeah, even though I'm not a biologist, I think I can tell what a woman actually is. And I think I can tell who's going to win in a fight unless said female is, really good at jujitsu and I didn't know about it. But then you start adding other, items in there, like in a carjacking, a violent person with a gun threatening your life, and you don't even have the ability to defend yourself in a place like Washington, D.C. because of the gun laws.
Exactly. And, I live in a state that has similar laws regarding the Second Amendment. And, I always say, as a 5'2" woman of a certain amount of weight, that a gun is the equalizer if somebody tries to break into my place. If a 6'2", 200-pound man tries to break into my place, he can eat some lead. And now we're equal. That is how that works. And that's a hill that I will absolutely die on. I feel like there's a lot of leftist men who are like, oh, you shouldn't have guns. Really, be a woman for like a month. Deal
Yeah.
with being a woman, walking around for about a month and see if you don't need a gun and wouldn't feel a lot safer if you had access.
A lot of these leftist men are choosing
self-defense.
to become women, so you never know.
Oh, there's that because it's so much fun. If they were able to become actual women, I can assure you they'd go running back to that male body. Toot sweet.
Yeah, especially if they're threatened. Well, and I tell you, Melanie, we also just saw video today or yesterday. I think the story broke yesterday of a guy that in San Francisco and shockingly he was allowed to own a gun. But it looked like a smash and grab was about to happen in his place of business. It was a jewelry store / pawn shop kind of situation. He goes in, he's followed in by a group of young smash and grabbers. He pulls out a 38. He never even had to fire a shot. He pointed them. They couldn't run out of that store fast enough. Did you see that video?
I didn't, but good.
Yeah.
And I hope they were scared. I hope they wet themselves. Like the audacity. And when you talk to these kind of people who steal, they come up with all kinds of excuses. Oh, we're poor. They don't I saw this documentary not too long ago, based in California. And they were talking about, well, they don't have it and they're stupid to leave it in the car anyway. No, that's not how it works. You actually should be able to leave things in your car without somebody like you breaking into it and stealing it. It's actually the opposite. But good. There should be more of that.
And in places like San Francisco, you can't, and New York, and probably in New Jersey, I would imagine also, there are 150,000 places in the state where you can't carry your self-defense tool, even if you're licensed to do so. So what does one do? One has to leave it in the car. And you've got violent criminals doing carjackings who are also doing vehicle theft, smash and grab of vehicles, and the state is actually forcing citizens to leave their firearms, their knives, whatever, in the car where they are being stolen by people who can then upgrade from, automotive break-in to carjacking because they now have a legal, lawful person's firearm owner's firearm.
Exactly. And the argument that, oh, it's just kids, they don't need anything to do. I don't know. I was a kid. I've been bored. Never on my agenda was, what, let me go stick some folks up. First of all, where are you getting a gun? You're a kid.
Yeah.
Where are you getting it? Like, what are we doing? I just, all these excuses other than moral decline and poor policy making, those are the two answers. Those are the two answers to the problem. So
I agree with you, Melanie. Let me ask you this. Let me just ask you a question.
The poor morality and the bad policies, you're never going to get out of this.
Well, that is exact kind of goes to my question I was just about to ask you. It seems like the Democrats are their political will is shrinking around the country. People are fed up. People are fed up because of inflation. People are fed up because of the border. People are fed up because we're throwing billions of dollars to a short guy that comes over from Ukraine and in his fatigues every few months with his hat in his hand. People are fed up. And of course, crime has a lot to do with that too. There's no political will within the Democrat Party to address this crime issue. But do you think the nation as a whole is going to show the political will come next November when it comes to electing people and changing some of these insane policies?
Man, I hope so. I hate to be cynical. I'm a little cynical because I feel like I've been through too many election cycles where I was like, okay, well, surely we're going to straighten this out this time. And then it didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to because unemployment is historically high. Inflation is historically high. So surely we're going to elect different people. No. So I listen, I don't know, but I'm hopeful and prayerful. I hope that people will really see the light now.
Yeah, me too. What we're down to our last minute or so here, but when we're talking about, you were a high school teacher, you've got experience with, this age group and young people. How detrimental and how big of a factor is it, the whole woke DEI, CRT, cultural manipulation, culture jamming? This class of citizens is oppressor. This class of citizens is oppressed and victims. How much does the beating of that into young people's brains cause what we're seeing now? On top of the fact that there's no consequences.
I'll tell you in a little illustration, a little life story. When I was a teacher, I was the only Black full-time teacher in the school. More than 2 or 3 times, I was accused by students who look exactly like me of being a racist. That's how deep it is.
Wow.
And the supervisors, principals, administrators agreeing with that sentiment. And when I called them out on being racist for those policies, them saying that I didn't understand it, they were just trying to help us.
Amazing.
This is a personal experience. I'm the only Black person there. Seriously.
It's hard to believe. Like that is shocking. I know I shouldn't be shocked, but that's really hard to believe. I mean, Steve,
I promise you that is a fact.
Do you guys remember when we were kids, if you went, the teachers and the administration, they pretty much had each other's back. There was never this like, oh, this administrator or this teacher versus this teacher on behalf of this student, unless it was, an extreme case. But over DEI, I mean, this is really, this is not a good
I was
path.
told you don't understand. We were advocating for Black students by telling them that they don't know how to behave, so don't write them up. That's how you're advocating? Doesn't sound like advocating.
Well,
sounds like you're saying Black people are animals who don't know how to behave. So let's just let them act like animals. They're not getting discipline at home. They're not going to get it in the school. Right. So, and let's just send them out into the world, not understanding respect for authority. To me,
it is patronizing as hell too, isn't it?
For them to look at my face and tell me that they've read books and studies. Okay, well, I've lived in this body as a Black woman for 52 years. I'm very well educated, and I grew up in a predominantly white area, so I think I know what it takes to survive. So how dare you? It's the audacity.
Yeah.
It is the absolute audacity of it, and that's why I'm not doing it anymore. Several reasons.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It must. Does it kind of. I mean, once something like that happens to you inside the education system, I mean, clearly you're not doing it anymore and you're here with us. So, we can thank you for everything you did up to that point, and then making the decision to come to Project 21, join us here on TNT for these discussions, because it's really important. And Steve and I can sit here and say these things all day, but we didn't teach high school. We didn't grow up in your body. We weren't called racists for calling out DEI and this sort of thing. I mean, where do you see this going? What is going to happen if we keep telling young people, never mind what their color, creed, background, and financial status is? What happens if we keep telling young people, hey, you're the victim, you're the oppressor?
We're going to go backward. Anybody who knows anything about education and brainwashing, anytime you tell a student, you put victory into their minds. You put resilience into their minds. You put overcoming into their minds. That is how you encourage a student, a child. You tell them that they are the best. How can they be the best? How can you overcome this obstacle? You speak victory into children. And until we start doing that, particularly with students who look like me, instead of telling them that they're poorly behaved and that they can't make it because the man is holding them down, until we start speaking victory back into our students, particularly our Black and brown students, we are going to continue to have this problem.
You know, let me ask you this, Melanie, because
I thought we only had 1 minute left. What happened?
well, we thought we only had 1 minute left too, but as it turns out, we've got a couple. We did.
No, I'm glad. I'm just like.
Well, no, but this is a question that I don't know if you probably. I think we've all seen the story about the mayor of Boston who sent out the letter to her city council inviting them all to a holiday celebration for people of color. And then she realized, whoops, I sent this out to 7 white city council members, and she had to send out a letter that apologized for that, saying, oh, you're still not invited. Didn't mean to send it to you. Sorry. It's funny in a way, but in a way it goes to the identity politics that Democrats, and especially progressive leftist Democrats now, although that's kind of, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, I suppose, these days. But it seems that they would abandon this crap by now. It's not
you would think, but they won't, and they keep going backward. And I always refer to it as the ultimate racism. I really think on a global scale that this is the ultimate racism. Trying to make Black people, if you keep killing Black people in the womb and continue to tell the ones that live that they are put upon and they can't make it unless the powerful white man helps them, what are you doing to that person's mind? Am I wrong about that? Like, that's what you're doing. So you're ultimately, they're the real racist. And in that situation where this woman literally says, oh, I didn't mean to invite you. It's an all Black thing. When during the civil rights movement did we ask for all our own stuff? We did not. Yeah. We did not say we wanted our own schools. We did not say what we said was we wanted equality. That's what we said. And this equity agenda is not the same thing. That's not what Martin Luther King talked about. And it's just absolute foolishness. And it's offensive to me.
It is. Yeah.
What if you had a white plus one? Then what?
Right.
My ex-husband's white. What if I wanted to go to the party?
Let me just tell you this. Her husband is white, and he's got the whitest name of all time. His name is Connor. Okay? So the Asian mayor.
The Black people, I promise you, always have a white spouse or partner. It's really mind-blowing. Like, how do you go home and talk about how horrible white people are all day to your white partner? I don't get it.
No, it doesn't make sense. It
God
really kind of
you,
makes
Kamala.
it.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's either disingenuous or you really found what you were looking for. I'm not sure which it is. But
Either
Melanie, we're out of time, right?
Could be.
Thank you for staying with us a little bit over time here. We really appreciate you here at State of the Nation. You can find Melanie at Project 21. Of course, we recommend that you go over there and keep up. They have such great ambassadors and writers. The political analysis coming out of Project 21 is top notch. Melanie, Collette, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to you joining us again right here at State of the Nation on today's News Talk, TNT Radio.